Titanic Effort task in Harbor, Quebec. Hello there everybody and welcome to another special episode of SnowRunner here at Overfed Gaming. I am the Overfed. Today we are in a Titanic Effort task which is part of the Northern Trails Travel Company contract, where we got to pick up 8 service spare parts at the port warehouse and deliver them to the docks. Now we've already moved 5 of them and we're down to the last 3, which we're picking up here with the Kenworth 963. Now it's quite a journey to get to the docks. We are in the top left hand corner of the map and we got to go all the way down to the bottom left hand corner. Now they wanted these service spare parts by morning, so we had to leave around midnight to get there on time. I guess they need them for something to repair the dock so you can get things working again. So we picked them up and we're off on our way to get there. Like I said, we got a long ways to go. We're going to try and travel as much of that as possible on the ice, because if you look at the map and you look where the port is and you draw a line to the docks, if you draw a straight line, it almost covers over top of the ice. There's one spot where we got to pull out and come up to land, get on the highway, pick up a little bit of fuel, and then we're on our way again. Anyhow, that's the route that we're going to take, and we're going to take it slowly. Just like the word of the day, we got to take it slow, because when you drive over the ice here, there's some places where you're going to go through and some places where you're not. Now, if you have been watching my videos, I've been letting people know and trying to explain and trying to practice myself at the same time how to drive over the ice and where to see where the solid parts are and where the breakthrough parts are. And I fall through all the time, and that is why I preach to drive slow. Because when you fall through, if you're driving slow enough, you can always back up and pull back up out of the ice, and then, like there, when I ran into the rocks, and then go into a different direction a little bit over. So that's why I go a little bit slower. Plus, I like the Kenworth because the Kenworth on the ice is probably one of the best trucks to use for a couple of reasons. Now, main reason that I use them on the ice is because of the tires. When he does break through and fall through, if it's not too deep, he can usually just drive through it. Much easier than if you have a truck that's got smaller tires. The other reason is the frame. Because the Kenworth frame is so long, sometimes when you're falling through the ice of the front tires, the back tires are still on solid ground. And then that way, back tires can help push the front tires back out of the ice and back onto solid ground again, and so forth and so on. As you travel over the ice, you just go dipping in and out. It helps. It doesn't always work, but it does help. It makes it a little bit easier than if you're trying to cross over the ice with trucks that got shorter frames. However, we got the Kenworth today and we are on our way, and up ahead here I see a hashtag box with the yellow hashtag boxes with the right by one of those deserted boats on the side. They're gonna stuck in the snow there, or stuck in the ice. I'm sure we're gonna end up having to deal with that later on in a different task or job where we're going to have to deliver something to them, because they just came alive not that long ago, these boxes. But we're going to find out soon enough as we continue to travel south at ice level. Well, every once in a while we're climbing up a little bit of a land mass as we go around a corner or something. I don't know if we could have gotten around the corner on the ice down below there on this one here. And we just follow it along and keep going until there is no room left to go, and then you're going to have to climb out of the ice, away from ice level, I should say, up through the hill and then out to the highway so we can get to Everton, and then to the other side of Everton, and we're back into four-wheeling again. This is an absolutely awesome journey, and it's been a long task having to bring over 8 service spare parts is quite a several times back and forth, unless you're pulling a trailer, of course, which, as we all know, the overfed isn't the fondest of. I don't mind the big trailers, like the coil tubing trailers and the semi-rig trailers. They're kind of fun to pull around, but it's the cargo trailers I'm not really that fond of. But that's okay. We make do as we can. Now, when we get back to ice here again, you know, you got to kind of see where you can go. Now, I should have stuck a little bit further to, maybe a little bit further here to the right-hand side. Well, we're doing okay. And here we have to climb up into the hill. And there's a little community on our right-hand side. Now, there's two ways to go here. I could have just kept on going straight, and you can see the highway just up there. I could have just gone up there. I chose to take this path, and it just runs parallel with the highway and then curls right into it. So it would have been the same thing, but that's okay. This is a little bit more scenic with the little houses over here. And it must be like seaside cottages. And here we're just going to climb up out of the snow and onto the highway. You know, for a truck that doesn't have any chains, and I've heard people complain about the Kenworth not being a good climber. I tell you, I have not experienced that myself. I think he's an awesome climber, and for not having chains, the only time you got any real problems with him is on ice roads, and then only if you're going up a hill that's a little bit too steep, or if you're coming down a hill that's a little bit too steep. You can't slow down if you got no chains on it. Anyhow, we're in the fuel station here, best in Canada, it says. In Everton, we're just going to fuel up because we like to keep the tank as full as possible, because you never know when you're going to need this particular vehicle again. I might be using it for another job right away that starts from the docks, and there's no place to fuel up over there. That's one of the reasons why I like to keep it full. Or if you need it for like a little extra fuel for a different vehicle, you know, it's always a good practice to keep it. You don't have to pay for it; it's free, so you might as well fuel her up. Now we're going to get to the end of this strip here, and then we're going to go back off the highway and back into four-wheel drive. Just up here. Now the journey has been fairly easy so far, and it's also been on a road that I've driven it a few times, so I've kind of gotten used to it a little bit. I still make lots of mistakes, but I kind of got used to it a little bit. But this part of the journey here, I have not done very much. Now here you could have gone onto the ice, or you could stay on the land, whichever way you'd like to go. If you go over the ice, of course, you do have to know how to read it. But back over here, you'd have to come back to the land anyhow, because you can't get around this next corner. I think it would be much easier just to stay on here and turn with this. It's a little safer, nothing to fall through. Now over here, I kind of misread it a little bit, I think, because we got over here and it's a little deep. I think I should have stayed a little bit further to the right, just like that. It's still going to fall through, but like I said, with the big tires, it's not too much of an issue as he slowly gets through. Now we've got one dangerous little ice crossing. We got one dangerous ice crossing coming up, so be sure to stick around for that. It's just shortly after this corner. Now this corner too, when you look at it from here, it doesn't look like there's any room to go around the rock, but on the mini map it shows that there is room. Now one thing you got to watch out for, before I go on to that, there's another one of those deserted boats I see. Now one thing you got to watch out for, like I was going to say, whenever you cross the ice, some of the shards of ice are loose and some of them are solid. So you got to be careful where you drive. Some of the ices break away and some of it sinks right through, right down, and when you're on top of it. The ice over here is a little bit different than what we're used to. So, and it's just coming up in a second here. Now when you do drive on the ice, like I said, the shards that are solid, you can see and feel them when you're driving over them. They don't move, and they will give you damage much more easier than if you go a little bit slower. I always find I go too fast over the ice and I take a lot of damage. Now, always remember, when you do take damage, now if you take engine damage, not so bad, gearbox, suspension, okay, tire, alright. But if you puncture your fuel tank, you better check to see how much damage you've given it, because if you have too much damage, you're going to lose fuel. And if you lose fuel, it doesn't matter how good the rest of the truck is, it's not going to move. You know that. So any repairs that need to be done always should be done on the fuel tank first. I think that only makes sense. Keep that in mind when you're doing any kind of ice crossing, as you're going to find out here pretty quick, along with the Opafet, the hard way. Now, you got, like I said, you got to go a little slower, and we're doing okay. Now the drop-off box, the black arrow and the yellow diamond box is back up on the screen, and you can see the oil platform over there. So you can tell we're not far away from the docks. But just up ahead here, you can see that beautiful ice crossing with all the big shards of ice left and right, all over the place sticking up. And this again is where a long frame truck can be a pro or a con. It can help push you over bad spots, but it can also keep you from making the turns you need to make. Ooh, and then we fall in there. Now we did some damage to the tire and the gas tank, so I think we should check that out. The gas tank, okay, we got it back up to full. But it took some damage, and as you can see, there's big chunks of ice missing everywhere. And as you're driving through, some of it sinks and disappears. And this is a very tough crossing, very, very tough. Because remember, if we do any more damage to the vehicle and we can't move and we can't get it there, being as close as we are, we'd have to send another vehicle out to come and help them. Now we want to avoid that if we can, so we're going to continue to take it easy as we go through here. And we can see where the exit ramp is over there. It looks like we're going to be okay. Now we got damage on one tire. I don't know how bad that's going to make the truck run, or if it's even going to make a difference. We got a little bit of damage on the suspension. The rest is okay. And like I said, we're not far away, so hopefully we can make it there in one piece and deliver these last 3 service spare parts. Now you see, every once in a while when he's climbing, he stops, and you just gotta let it roll a little bit and then try again, or change the direction of your steering wheels, and you know, he just keeps on chugging. Now, if you compare him to some of the other trucks on real steep hills, hey, maybe he doesn't do so well. But you know, those kinds of hills I have not yet encountered with the Kenworth, so everything I've thrown at it, he's done for me. And he's done so with a smile. He's still moving, and he's got 3 cargo slots, which is always cool, because there are some jobs that just need 3 cargo slots, and that's where the Kenworth is perfect. I see the sun is starting to come up, and the darkness has started to fade as we're almost there. And we can see the oil platform a little bit closer now. Looks like it's going to be another successful delivery. Just around the corner here. Absolutely awesome. Well, I really enjoyed this task, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you back at Overfed Gaming again real soon. Until then, you've been delivering three boxes of service spare parts in the Kenworth 963 to the docks here, with me as your driver, the Overfed.